Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of With All Due Respect. We are your hosts. I'm Ryan Shead. That's Marcus Flowers. Brother, how are you doing?
I'm doing good today. I have to ask for everybody's pardon while I wear a baseball cap today. I'm in casual mode today, or super casual mode.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
You've
been out there hustling, as have a lot of people. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about today to get to, but want to start it off on a little bit of a light note. And I'll tell you why this is a little personal for me. So, Robert Irwin, who is the son of renowned Australian conservationist. Wow, I can't even say that word today.
Conservationist.
Thank you, sir. Jeez. Steve Irwin has won Dancing with the Stars a decade after his sister did the same. That was kind of cool to watch. I just always like seeing these two kids, kids to us, out there.
Watch them grow up.
Yeah. They're grown now, but it's still just nice to see them out there doing good things, enjoying life, because when you see any families go through, losing a father or any parent like that, it's difficult. So it's just been nice to see them be able to rally around each other and still, really carry on. It seems like they really do carry on their father's, not just his legacy, but his mentality, his personality, his way that he would engage with the public. They seem to have kind of, either inherited that or taught themselves that.
Yeah, I lost the connection there for a second, but I think I'm back. Yeah, I think I caught most of what you're saying. Yeah, we watched these guys grow up. Everybody loved their dad. I can't think of a single person who didn't love seeing Steve Irwin out with
impersonating him too. Yeah,
teaching people about things that you'd never get to see.
Yep.
In your lifetime, all the dangerous snakes and crocodiles and everything they had in Australia. And
watch this. Yeah,
exactly. Just his charisma and personality. He was an awesome guy. So
yeah, he was
good to see both of his kids win Dancing with the Stars and see them have, success after losing a father that way. So
absolutely. And for me, it's been interesting. My wife, she loves Dancing with the Stars, and so you think you can dance. And for me, I started doing ballroom and swing and all this other stuff, like couples dancing, when I was like 12, and I was competing by the time I was 13. So for me, I watch these shows and it's not enjoyable for me, and it's not enjoyable for my wife either, because I'm sitting there critiquing them the whole time. And I'm like, that's not even, you wouldn't even do that there. Like, come on, that's not even, So, and it's not fair to them, because if you took anybody that has either, very little or no dancing experience, and you're like, here, go learn this in a week, when you get it in that context, it's like, y'all do pretty good. Y'all do pretty darn good.
The insider baseball guys, you watch it with a more critical eye. I'll put it that way.
It's totally different. So I see why it's enjoyable for others, but for me, it's like, I can't turn that context off. Yeah.
Watch it for purely enjoyment.
Yeah, man. So, but while we're talking about enjoyment and entertainment, there's a movie called Air Bud that's been in the news a little bit lately. Yeah. Would you like to tell them a little bit about that?
Oh man, so Air Bud, in the the way the Missouri Republicans are trying to use the analogy, they've got a little film out, about redistricting off cycle, and just a gerrymander.
Middle of the decade,
analogy. And the analogy being, well, there's no rule. If you've seen Air Bud or any of the Air Bud movies, the gist is there's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball or can't play football.
Yeah.
One of the sequels, Airbud, Golden Receiver movie, the second or third one, I think. So yeah, they're being a little bit ridiculous here, but but that's their thing. They're saying if there's no rule that a dog can't play basketball, then there's no rule that you can't redistrict.
Isn't it
in the
sad?
middle of the decennial redistricting that goes according to the census? So by their calculations, they say, well, the rules say you must redistrict after the decennial consensus or census. Doesn't say when, doesn't say how many times.
Okay, there you go. How many times? And yeah.
So by that analogy, you could do it every 2 years or every year if you wanted to redistrict. So
you want to know why there's no
too cute by half in my book, but
exactly. It's like the reason that they do this, like, well, there's no law against, like, yeah, because lawmakers for decades, I'd argue even centuries, couldn't have predicted that we would need to put it down in an actual law for you not to do some of this dumb stuff. But here we are. So now I guess we have to go through and just make sure maybe a felon shouldn't become president. Maybe we should do background checks for people running for office. Just planting seeds, throwing ideas out there.
Well, traditions and norms be damned when it comes to the Republican Party lately.
Very a better way to put it.
That's just the way they're treating it. We're going to do whatever we can to win, no matter what the voters think about it. And voters, to be sure, are pissed about this, especially on the Democratic side.
Yep,
pissed because
for sure
these aren't the norms. You know what the rules are. You only redistrict once every 10 years. You've got the maps. The party in power gets to draw the maps. Yeah, there's going to be some gerrymandering going on. You're going to try to play to your strengths and favors, but that's the rule. Just because the rule doesn't say you can do it every 2 years to give yourself an even more advantage.
Do you think it's fair to say
understood
that they're just throwing, all these, whatever they can come up with laws against the wall to challenge them all in court, to just get as many of them in the system as they can to see what they're going to get away with legally and what they won't? Yeah. I mean, that's what it seems like to me.
Oh no, part of that happened in Georgia, after the census. I mean, it took almost 2 years to get the maps approved. A judge came back and said, these maps were unfair. You need to draw another majority minority district.
Yep.
Or actually, he said 2 majority minority districts. There was one.
Was it 2?
Yeah, there was 1 in Alabama and 2 in Georgia.
Okay.
We ended up only getting 1 because they went back and they
finagled.
Finagled. Made blue districts already a little bit more blue, and other Republican districts more red.
But everybody still just kind of maintains.
Eked out 1 more majority minority district, and it wasn't 2. And the judge finally said, "Okay, this is that." And this has been going back and forth in the courts. Gerrymandering on race. It's gone up to Supreme Court. Clarence Thomas and gang were like, yeah, it's cool. Do whatever you want to do, Republicans. Yep. We got your back there. So, I mean, they're doing everything they can do to dilute the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So
go to Elon Musk's page. I challenge people to go to Elon Musk's Twitter page and read the last 48 hours on his Twitter feed. He has been fear-mongering and gaslighting white people for days. And it's exactly for the reason that Marcus just said. Because there's a political agenda here. And it is give white people power and make sure that we keep all the minorities in where we want them.
Gut the Voting Rights Act, redistrict in ways that are going to only benefit the Republican Party and try and keep them in power.
Just look at Trump's cabinets.
Yeah.
Where's the diversity?
Well, It's not there. That's woke nonsense as far as they're concerned, having diversity, which we
Well,
know
we'll
as
get to the more
Americans,
woke
our
nonsense.
our
Yeah.
strength, and companies know this. The U.S. government and the military knows that our strength lies in our diversity.
Yeah, I would hope. But speaking of Tennessee's special election last night, I know we were hoping for slightly better news when we did the show today, but I think it's fair to say that it was a really good showing for her and the party. So hopefully this is the sign that a lot of us think it is for midterms, that that these very heavy red districts are going to become a hell of a lot more purple when it comes time to vote. So that's why it does matter, that we really do start amping up our get your ass out and vote, campaigns.
Look, the momentum right now is clear. I mean, that was an R plus 22, 27 district. I think Trump.
I think I read 22, but yeah.
Trump won it by 22, and the previous rep won it by 27, I believe.
Yeah. I think you're right.
The momentum's there.
Yep.
Afton did a great job bringing it to 8 or 9 points. And that bodes very well for the Democratic Party going into the midterms. Those insider baseball Republicans at the RNC, they're sweating right now.
They're panicking.
Mike Johnson's sweating right now. He knows he's about to lose that gavel.
Hard.
He is sweating. And they went hard for this district. They poured in millions of dollars against Afton in this race. And they still only won a district that they should have won by 20 plus.
Yep.
They won it by single digits. Now, that goes back to that redistricting thing that they're doing. Let this be a cautionary tale for all those Republicans in Missouri and Texas and other places who want to do all this redistricting. You're going to make some of those other red seats less red.
Yeah.
And anything within 8, 10, 12 or 15 points, maybe.
Now it's in distance.
Now it's in play.
Yeah.
And that should be a message to Democrats that we need to play, or
some of us at least.
You got to play everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. I say it all the time. Democracy demands competition. Afton led the way. I did the same thing in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. And I moved that district.
And she's scared now too.
To the left.
Yep.
And there's a special election in that district now, which I'm supporting the guy who's running in that race, the Democrat running in that race, Sean Harris, former Brigadier General, Army Brigadier General, friend of mine. I'm supporting him. He's already running, so just wanted to get that out.
We can still vote our way. We can still vote our way out of this.
We can vote our way out of this,
There's people running that, if we put the resources behind, they can win. And as you were saying, I just want to cap it off by saying, Afton did so well in Tennessee. I don't want to diminish the people in her campaign, the people on the ground that were knocking doors in Tennessee in that district. I'm not trying to diminish that at all. But, another one of the reasons that she was so successful is because of the content creators that have been out there for weeks and even months, pushing her, sharing her website, sharing the videos. So, I just hope you all realize that you did play a part in this. So, we should all be holding our heads high, knowing that, we turned a 22, 27 swing red district. Now it's within play. So, kudos to all of you. Your hard work wasn't for nothing. And like Marcus said, let's just keep the momentum going.
Yeah, let me tell you, the fact that she got out and knocked, or they got out and knocked 75,000 doors in a special.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. Let me give you some context. In a 6-month general election, we knocked 80,000 doors. They did this in less than 2. So that's
crazy.
They were out on the ground working hard.
I've knocked doors. That's crazy amount.
Oh, yeah.
That's a crazy.
Having a good field game. I mean, it's important. So,
and like you said, though,
about what you can do, volunteer to knock doors for candidates. It helps.
Also, too, take her campaign. We see that it works. take her campaign, blueprint, and let's start duplicating it. Now, of course, it's not going to work exactly the same in every district. It'll have to be tweaked a little bit, but this outreach, the way that they ran this campaign overall, I think it's something that, we should just duplicate. And, she's not the only one. There's other people that are running very similar campaigns, but we see that it's working. So now we would be stupid not to say, okay, that blueprint's working. Let's take it and apply it here, here, and here.
Yeah, it's working.
It's working.
And we've got the momentum on our side. If these guys want to play games by gerrymandering these districts, they're going to dilute some of those super red districts.
They're going to start losing.
They're going to start losing some of those that, and you've got Republicans who are in Congress now who are sweating that as well. They won't say it publicly, but they're sweating it because they know when leadership comes to them and says, okay, we're going to redraw your district. Yeah, you're in an R plus 25 district. You don't need R plus 25. Let's move some of that somewhere else. Let's move you down to like R plus 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Now you can lose that seat if you've got a good candidate out there, and Democrats decide we're going to place good candidates everywhere, and we're going to stay on message and do the things that we need to do, and we're going to work hard and support those candidates. It's going to be a good year for Democrats because that makes Republicans have to play everywhere. That makes them the RNC have to spend money where they weren't going to spend money before.
Well, and I've noticed something that, and I can't remember his name right now, but there was a Republican congressman that came out and said that he would not be supporting Donald Trump's legislation. I don't know if he meant all moving forward or if it was a particular one, but he said his reason was because he used the R word when he was, I believe he was going after Tim Walz.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came out publicly, he said, and the reason is because my son falls in that category. So it's like, dude, Democrats may just need to sit back, grab the popcorn, and let them fight it out for 6 months, see what happens.
You let them fight their own battles, get out of their way.
And we just, sit over here and, grill up some hamburgers and talk about what could be if
still got to do the work.
I know.
But, when someone's digging their own grave.
Can you just let me have my second of just fantasy bliss of just damn.
I'm with you, brother. We'll just get out of the way.
We all want it. We all want it.
We see the cracks there. Everybody sees MAGA on its, I won't say it's deathbed because there's going to be another iteration.
I don't know, dude. But I think they are on their deathbed. I'm going to tell you why. I think this Mark Kelly, I'm going to call it a debacle.
Let's call it a debacle. That's as good a word as any.
Because it is showing how ignorant a lot of Americans are when it comes to military orders, actions during war, but
UCMJ, USC.
Yeah, most importantly, code of conduct and what we're allowed to do in combat zones.
What our oath is.
So Mark Kelly telling soldiers that they have a duty not to abide by unlawful orders. For some reason, everybody keeps switching that unlawful.
They take it out.
They take that out, and some of them are putting the president of the United States. It's like, no.
Not how this
None
works.
of us swore an oath to the president, to a man or person.
No one.
I swore an oath to all
no
of
one in
you.
the military. Yeah. You don't swear an oath to a president or a person. You swear an oath to the Constitution, i.e. the law.
Yep.
Well, stop. That's what you swear the oath to support and defend.
So to see, Pete Hegseth weaponizing, his position and the Pentagon by opening investigations into somebody for doing absolutely nothing wrong. And if you'll allow me for a second to kind of step on my soapbox, I want to point out that Mark Kelly is a lifelong public servant. Went into the military in the 80s, I believe he retired as a captain, became a freaking astronaut, and not just some astronaut, but one that piloted I think 2 or 3 missions. You know, and then not to mention being there for his wife after that tragedy, and now being a senator. Like, dude, Pete Hegseth, you went from a Fox News host to your position that you're clearly unqualified for. You do not have anything on Mark Kelly. Like, nothing. Like, you, Donald Trump, and Matt Gaetz added together are still not man enough to take on somebody like Mark Kelly. Yeah, not to mention the fact that he has veterans like Marcus and myself and many other that I know I speak for that are going to stand up with somebody like Mark Kelly, and Mark Kelly specifically, because he's on the right side of this. That's really all it is. It's not about him being a Democrat. It's not about any of that bullshit. It simply is, when we take the oath, we are understood that we have to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And when you talk about domestic, why it was far-fetched for a lot of us to believe, we have a president of the United States that is upset that there are people saying don't follow unlawful orders from him. And the only logical reason that he would be upset about that is because he plans on giving unlawful orders. And I'll cap it off by saying, for those of you asking, well, what unlawful orders has he given? The one sending troops into American cities. And there have been a few courts now that have told him, you can't do that. And Kristi Noem was told, don't send people out of the country, and she did it anyway. So here we are.
I mean, I'm surprised by absolutely none of that.
I know. I wish.
You know.
Yeah.
We've used that word unprecedented so many times.
So many.
You know, it has.
What's another word though? What other word encompasses that?
Yeah, I mean, having
we've never dealt with this
lost
before.
Its impact.
Yeah,
you know, people were like, "Yep, another unprecedented thing." It's like we're using it every day. In the last administration, Trump was the president for, and this administration, his current administration. I mean, it's just, you know, rolling right over guardrail after guardrail, and
yep,
I think it's finally starting to catch up with him. But getting back to Mark Kelly, I don't want to get off of that. You know, this whole bringing him back to active duty to court-martial him. You know, I'm still like, for what?
For what?
For stating what the law is. I mean, you run into all kinds of.
Let me know when you were asked to go get Mike Flynn first.
I do want people to understand that it is, and I'm going to use the word unprecedented. It is not unprecedented to bring someone who's retired from the military back to active duty, and
I know it's been done
and court-martialed.
I don't know how many times though.
It's been done a lot in the last decade.
Has it?
You know, for certain things, you still fall under UCMJ as a retiree.
Then why isn't Mike Flynn sitting in freaking Leavenworth?
Well, yeah, you got a pardon. So,
thank you for reminding me and everybody else that Mike Flynn needed a pardon. You know who's not going to need a pardon? Mark Kelly.
He's not going to need a pardon because all he did was simply state the law.
And remind us
to put it in civilian terms. That's all he did.
Yep.
He stated what the law was. And they want to, like you said, they keep leaving that part out where they say, oh, you are not bound to follow unlawful orders.
Yep.
You don't have to. I mean, if you do, you know, that the Nazis tried that in Nuremberg. So that's what with the Nuremberg trials, where they said, oh, we were just following orders. Yeah, but you followed orders.
You still walked people into gas chambers and killed them. Yeah.
War crimes.
Yeah. You should have known that was bad.
You should have known, you know.
Like that was really when it all came to the end, that was really what it was. It was like, you still should have known that you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. And it's also not unprecedented that soldiers in the U.S. who followed unlawful orders were also prosecuted.
4 of them needed a pardon for Donald Trump after. Yes. Go look that up. I'm just going to say that. Go look up the soldiers that, I believe it was pretty much massacre, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me. And yeah, he pardoned all of them. So
a SEAL, I can't remember his name now, but there was a SEAL who,
like, I'm sorry, dude.
That was the big one where Trump pardoned that guy. And he obviously, I mean, even his own brothers in the SEAL community were like, yeah, it's kind of messed up.
Yeah, no, like that was justified.
Yeah.
He earned that. Yeah. That's my issue, man, is like, if you're going to pardon somebody from the military, like, it's got to be something like that was like really questionable or, just something. But he's pardoning people that, like, there's no question. These people did some pretty horrendous shit.
Yeah.
And the fog of war, as Pete Hegseth likes to call it, only accounts for so much. I'm not saying that the fog of war doesn't exist, but it is not a catch-all phrase to be used whenever we want to justify our position or our actions.
And that's not what the fog of war means. That's
that too. Yeah. So
that fog of war meaning, certain lines being crossed during wars.
Yeah.
So, here we go. There he is. Keith, can you go ahead and play that? Play this South Park.
I haven't seen this yet. I wasn't expecting that. Oh God. Teenage. I'm done.
Look, man.
I'm done.
I gotta say, Trey Parker and Matt Stone do not miss, man. They do not miss.
Oh my God, that was good. Oh, that was good.
Those guys don't miss. And yeah, they're absolutely right.
So before we move on,
Whiskey Pete.
Before we move on to more of Pete Hegseth's incompetence, I would like to ask our amazing producer to play Mark Kelly's response to Republicans and Donald Trump's attacks.
Trump and Hegseth, they care more about publicity than they do about the rule of law. That's how I ended up finding out via a tweet that the Secretary of Defense was ordering an investigation into me. The same Secretary of Defense who has, from the moment he was nominated, has been historically unqualified for this position. The same Secretary of Defense who is reported to have ordered a second strike to kill shipwreck survivors in the Caribbean. If there is anyone who needs to answer questions in public and under oath, it is Pete Hegseth.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Let me say this before we go any further on this. You remember back when Fonnie Willis brought the charges against Donald Trump, and they were trying to get folks like Lindsey Graham and Mark, what was his name? Trump's chief of staff back then.
I can't think of
his name. Mark.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, though.
Who was a former congressman, went to be Trump's chief of staff. Lindsey Graham didn't have to come and testify because they talked about members of Congress or senators, Mark Meadows, members of Congress and senators having legislative independence, that they could say certain things in their official capacity as a senator. And I think it worked for Lindsey Graham. So Mark Kelly and all of those other members of Congress were speaking as senators and representatives when they were just repeating what the law was to soldiers.
Yep.
So that's one of the other reasons why, this is all ridiculous. The executive branch going after the legislative branch. You're not supposed to do that for stuff, but hey.
Let me ask you
this.
Here
we are.
Let me ask you this too. I want you to think as an enlisted individual, and I'm going to be the man, my brain ain't working. Thank you. So if I'm giving the orders and I tell you, well, I don't know who's who, but I tell you to go do something and I'm your boss, you go and do it because I told you to. And then I say, well, I wasn't there when it happened. Or, well, I left the room. I didn't tell him to go back again. Like, is that leadership?
It is not.
See, because to me, if I'm, King Dingaling Donald Trump, in charge of everything and can do whatever the fuck I want, I would have said, yeah, I told him to fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? But instead, Navy Admiral Frank Bradley has been scapegoated. And I want to go back to a conversation we had a few shows ago, which was when Pete Hegseth brought all the, top brass in the military in to give him that ridiculous speech.
To dress him down, basically.
Yeah. But during that, he told them that they needed to throw out the rules of engagement because that's what needs to be done to accomplish the mission.
Hey, he said something about taking off the kid gloves. Yeah.
Thank you. And which by the way, he pretty much doubled down on that either today or yesterday.
Yeah.
So
I know he's kind of singing a new tune now a little bit.
Nah, he went right back to
the writing on the wall.
He's flip-flopping back and forth. That's the problem. At the end of the day, these people aren't leaders. They're opportunists and grifters because leaders take accountability for the shit they do and the things that they order those to do. And the other thing that they do is they don't order people to do something that they wouldn't do themselves. And I know damn well that Pete Hegseth's too much of a little bitch to do these kind of attacks himself. Because in reality, he's the little prick sitting in the air-conditioned offices that's never done anything, telling people what to do. Because I know what you did in the military, you little coward. And you trained people to do things. You weren't kicking doors down. So stop acting like this big, tough, dude, because we've all watched you do pull-ups, man. And it's very evident that you've been riding a desk for a while. So please shut the fuck up. Please stop coming after people like Mark Kelly because you are not on their level. He is a heavyweight and you are down in the featherweight, dude. So you stay down there and know your fucking role and we'll let you know when we're coming to arrest your ass.
That's it. And it's going to come. I mean,
he's getting arrested.
When we look at these attacks in the Caribbean on these boats,
it's bad. It's bad.
There's so much there. They're saying they've got intel that they know who, and they probably do. They probably know where the point of origin of those boats were, who's on them, what's on them.
You would hope.
They've got assets on the ground in places where probably,
secret squirrel stuff. Yep.
Secret squirrel stuff. We'll just leave it at that. And they're firing on these boats and then double tapping to make sure everybody, he absolutely.
Look, Bradley did not give that order without somebody above him telling him to.
Absolutely.
I'll go to my grave saying that.
Here, now look, and I want to be fair. I've sat in talks and watched things happen in real time. A tactical operations center for those of you who aren't in the military. I've watched, enemy combatants being engaged, sitting in the talk. And I've seen things that may look like a double tap, but the difference being these are enemy combatants.
Direct
I've seen
combatants,
what an AC
right.
130 gunship will do to, a vehicle full of explosives.
Yep.
Maybe someone lives, but that's an enemy combatant. and you're at war, that Congress authorized you to be at war. We are not
At
at
that
war
point, I want the
with
soldier coming
Venezuelan
home.
drug
Yeah,
smugglers or
yeah.
whoever.
Yeah.
There is no war there. Congress has not authorized
Thank you.
a war.
Can
now what are we talking about when we watch boats being engaged, blown up, not
with
interdiction?
no authorization.
We're not talking about interdiction where the Coast Guard or let's say the Navy stops, apprehends, arrests, which they can do even on international water.
Yep. They clearly knew where they were.
Interdictions here. We are talking about lethal engagement.
Yep.
And then when you see survivors who are obviously can't
Should
put up
now
a fight,
be captives.
hanging on
Yep.
in the water.
They're no longer a threat.
Engage them. Whether Pete Hegseth said kill them all or not, we're not talking about a double tap. I mean, and we use that word double tap. Now we're just talking about murder.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yep.
It's murder. It's against the law. It's against any international law. You know, if there's an interdiction, you try to interdict them and they engage.
That's different.
That's one thing.
Yep. So, and I want to add this because I'm seeing this a lot from the right today. I'm not condoning or, if this is a whole different conversation, but they're comparing these strikes to Obama's drone campaigns.
Not the same thing at all.
It is not the same thing. And it's because of the things that Marcus just pointed out, which one of them being that while we can agree or disagree and definitely discuss, mistakes that were made, Obama was operating under the approval of Congress. He wasn't just ordering those drone strikes willy-nilly and just, let's see what happens. He was going through the correct channels to do what needed to be done. So, again, we can discuss if that was right or wrong, mistakes that were made. That's a totally different conversation. But at the end of the day, Barack Obama, as president, did not order military or drone strikes that were not co-signed by Congress and the military.
And I can guarantee you every one of those strikes, whether it was being conducted by CIA drones or DOD or Air Force or whatever asset they had in those areas, I guarantee you they went through legal first.
Yep, absolutely. Obama's not stupid. He wasn't that stupid.
You don't have a drone pilot sitting in Nevada somewhere just saying, this looks like a good target. I'm just going to go ahead and take the shot here.
And what are the drone pilots taught not to do?
Engage without approval. It's got to be an order.
And if they are given an order that they find questionable, like maybe shooting at a school
Church
or a hospital,
or
what are they supposed to do?
Not follow that order.
Thank you, sir. So I want to cap off this whole discussion about Hegseth and all of this with probably the most blatant hypocrisy that I've ever seen in my life, which is as they are shooting drug boats, claiming that these people are coming in and killing all these Americans and they're saving hundreds of millions of lives because apparently nobody in the Trump administration knows the actual population of the United States. The president, Donald Trump, the felon, fraud, adjudicated rapist, has pardoned Honduran ex-president Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was serving a 45-year sentence in the United States for, drumroll, conspiracy to import cocaine. Now, judging from the way Don Jr. wipes his gums and his eyes are constantly insanely bloodshot and red, I'm going to guess that they're trying to keep his support and his supply coming. But I just find it very interesting that this dude has literally been convicted and found guilty of bringing in crap tons of cocaine into the United States and trafficking it, among other things. And he pardoned them while simultaneously using his own actions, these strikes against boats, to now say that they're going to go into Venezuela and start a war on the ground. Because, again, drum roll, guess what Venezuela happens to have a crap ton of? Oil.
More than Iraq had.
Thank you.
That's
what it's all about, everybody.
Yeah,
it's all
they're
about
already
the oil.
They're already on the ground there. I mean, that's
yeah.
So,
yeah, the recon teams at this point.
Yeah.
So speaking of troops on the ground,
look, man, I got to say this before we go.
Yeah,
on.
please
Congress,
go.
Where are you guys, man? House of Representatives.
Tell them
it's time for y'all to step up and take your power back. Which I know Mike Johnson's not going to do that as Speaker, but
I think you might be able to get enough Republicans to do it.
To the Trump administration for the last year, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think they might be able to swing enough Republicans right now to do some interesting things.
I hope so.
I
hope so.
If some of these Republicans stick by their recent positions and words, I think the Democrats would be able to get a few to come on over to the dark side. But I know both of us want to touch on this because, it's a fellow soldier and, regardless of political nonsense,
right.
We lost a young woman, a young soldier for, in my opinion, no good reason.
No good reason.
And I think we can say two things at the same time, which is one, the piece of garbage that shot her should be held accountable to the fullest extent, of the law.
Absolutely.
But I also feel comfortable saying that Donald Trump was the reason she was there. And the reason that she was there was a political stunt. So
she should have been, or her unit, or any National Guard members should be in D.C.
Let alone more being sent.
Zero. There's zero reason for this.
And now you have D.C. police protecting the National Guard.
We had this conversation weeks ago about soldiers policing.
Yeah.
It's not their job. They're not trained for it.
It's not what the military is supposed to do.
No. You got a handful of people in the military who are trained police officers.
Yep.
Who understand how to do that. There's no reason these guys should be in D.C. or any other city in the United States.
But
you want to fight crime? Empower police officers, which there is no rampant crime in there. We talked about it, man. I mean, it's, they were looking for that reason. This is something, and it played right into Trump's hand. Oh, here's a reason where we can go in and call martial law.
It just feels so opportunistic.
You got a guy that comes all the way from the other side of the country, and don't get me started on why he's here in the first place.
I'm just jaded at this point.
We had interpreters who put their lives on the line for us. Probably saved my life a couple of times.
Got a couple of my friends home.
And there's others who are still there who didn't make it over.
That we made promises
many
to.
Letters.
That we made promises to. Like, let's call it what it is. These people helped our soldiers get home. Again, like Marcus, like friends of mine that did way too many tours over there. They knew these people. They had personal relationships with these people. Like, I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had with a few of these people that are devastated knowing that people that they actually gave a shit about because they helped them get back home, that they're being treated this way. Like, I don't know why this is so hard for Americans to understand, but if we keep telling our allies to go fuck themselves when we need help again, like 9/11, and we went begging the world to come back us up, when that happens again, they're going to look at us and tell us to kick rocks. And you know what? I'm not going to blame a single one of them. We've done this to ourselves because we keep making promises that we don't keep. And that's what happens when you elect a business fraud as president. You get somebody that talks all big and never delivers. I'm really interested to see if this $6.25 billion from the Dell family is ever going to actually make it into the to the government. But again, we should definitely have a conversation about why billionaires are having to subsidize our government. But I digress. Let's move on to, since we're talking about wars, the Ukraine peace talks do not seem to be going very well. I thought he ended this war like 3 times now.
I think he's probably on this like 10th iteration of ending it, but look, there's no surprises here for me either.
Nope.
Because it's Putin you're talking about.
Yeah.
Putin's been playing him from the very beginning.
Yep.
Since the moment he walked down the escalator, Putin was playing him like a fiddle.
I think there's a different way to put that. From the minute Donald Trump walked down that escalator, it was evident that Putin owned Donald Trump.
But he owned him. He owned him.
So the biggest development in this, and again, if you guys want to read the context, every peace talk that Donald Trump has said, every 2-week timeline that he's given Putin, like it's all failed. It's all come and gone. But today, NATO let the world know that they're not playing.
They're not going anywhere. That's what they say.
And they've made it very clear that they are not going to support Putin, and that if he keeps pushing the boundaries the way that they are, that they are going to step in. So, which is exactly what Russia doesn't want, by the way. That's what they've been fighting for 3 years.
Putin's making those threats. He's talking about these territorial concessions, Ukraine. We all know that Ukraine was just a stepping stone to Poland.
Yep. So give him an inch, and he's going to come back for a mile.
And that's what he's going to do. And he says, he's willing to go to war with Europe. And NATO's saying, bring it, basically. We're not going anywhere. Bring it.
And the thing that I think Putin is depending on that I don't think is going to go his way is I think he thinks because Trump is in power that Trump will back him up military-wise. And that's where I think Congress will be forced to step in. If he starts sending... Yeah,
you got Witkoff and Rubio over there, and Jared Kushner for whatever fucking reason.
Well, yeah,
they're all basically
Rubio's a spineless clown,
only dealing with Putin, and Ukrainians. They don't trust us anymore, or at least
nor should they.
Administration.
I hate to say it,
they shouldn't. And I'm not just talking Zelensky. I'm talking about everyday.
They can't depend on us.
The ground.
They can't depend on us.
Yeah, and I tell you, I remember the first time I went to Ukraine. I want to say 2000. It had to be 2006, 2007, and there's just lovely people. Oh, you're an American. Love speaking English with us, and they had a lot of love for us Americans back in those days. I wonder if it's still that way today.
I don't know, man. I think on the international stage, I think we're a laughingstock. But more importantly, I think that we are a liability. Yeah. And when you're a country trying to manage your own economy, and one of the biggest, if not the largest economic strongholds is playing games, then yeah, that becomes their business too. And that's the part where, a lot of these MAGA, they can't see past their own nose. It's like, guys, these are going to have effects on other countries, and they're going to get pissed off, and like this is going to become a thing. And wars have been started over less. So like we need to, like Marcus said, we need Congress to really step up and realize that our country's bigger than one person. Our country's bigger than one movement. And at this point, I would really hope that the 78 whatever million people that voted for Donald Trump in 2024, that at least 15 or 20 million of you have woke the fuck up at this point and realized that you screwed up. You really messed up putting this dude back in the White House. And more importantly, I just want to point out that every single one of you, the reason that I consider you to be scum, it isn't because of any of your life choices, really. It's the fact that the one most telling thing about you, and it's all I need to know, is that in 2024, you voted for Donald Trump, knowing without a doubt that he was a convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist, a prolific business fraud, an adjudicated or an accused pedophile. You knew all of those things, and you still voted for the man because you were either a racist piece of shit or a misogynist. There really isn't any other explanation. So
I mean, one of the virtues that or a couple of the virtues is personal courage and moral courage. One of the things we talk about in the military, whether we're talking about your intestinal fortitude, having guts enough to stand up for what's right because it's right.
What's right.
Yeah. Like our friend Scott Kennedy saying in the chat from X, reckoning is coming no matter what, so yeah, you're right. You're right, Scott.
Yep.
And this America First thing that in MAGA that you've got going on over on the Republican side, America First is going to become America Only when we're out there on an island. We've no longer got allies who are willing to back us up, where we have to depend on ourselves for everything.
Yep. I feel like that there's a T-shirt somewhere in that. But a T-shirt that I want to make is, I think, Dozy Don. Donald Trump falling asleep in cabinet meetings. And then, hang on a second, and then the White House coming out either last night or this morning and saying and basically pushing this story that he's working these long 12-hour days and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, if that's true, which it's not, but if that's true, maybe, just maybe, you should cut down his schedule just a little bit, maybe down to 8 hours, because he is 80 years old, and maybe cut it down so that he doesn't fall asleep in front of world leaders and in cabinet meetings that are being, or projected out to the world. Like, holy shit.
And I'm saying this directly to Donald Trump, take your ass to bed at night and get off Twitter at 3:00 in the morning.
150 posts in the middle of the night?
Maybe you'll make it through a cabinet meeting. I'm just saying. I've been in long conference meetings.
Take your Adderall at a different time.
And I'm like, man, are we really doing this? And I'd feel like falling asleep too.
Hey.
But hey.
I fell asleep in boot camp watching the video.
I think everybody's falling asleep.
I think everybody, yeah. Oh, yeah. It felt like a test. It felt like a test.
Sleep deprivation is one of the things. They're going to get you up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and
the first 3-4 days were really brutal. It was the shell shock.
And then put you in class all day.
Yep.
That's
exactly what it was. They feed you pancakes and stuff after you do PT, and then they put you in a classroom. It's like
you get your tum-tum really full.
Yeah.
You got to eat it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. God, I don't miss those days.
We're in class all day, and then we're going to run some more tonight.
So speaking of tests, let's talk about this MRI report. How many red flags went up for you reading that?
Well, the fact that they were saying that this was routine preventative screening. Really? Isn't just like taking your
heart and abdomen? MRIs is routine?
Yeah, doing a physical. Isn't that like routine, preventative maintenance stuff? But hey,
I mean, and again, I know that as you get older, like, as we get older, prostate exams become more, necessary and colonoscopies become more necessary. Like, again, I'm not a doctor. If there's some reason that 80-year-olds need MRIs of the chest and abdomen, that is preventative maintenance, and I don't know about it, I can acknowledge that that may be out there.
Yeah,
but I have some medical people in my family, and none of them have told me that is preventative. So I'm gonna stick with my initial reaction of, let me give you all some context. In January 2018, it was a write-up that Donald Trump had a coronary artery calcium score of 133. Now, for a little more context, his earlier score was 98 in 2013 and 34 in 2009. Now, I have heart disease in my family, so I went and got a calcium score not long ago, and my score was 0, thank God. But because of that, I understand these things. Now, when you say in a report that there is no sign of artery damage, artery disease, whatever, and that he's immortal and he's got the body of a 40-year-old or the heart of a 40-year-old, I call bullshit, because if you have a heart calcium score or an artery calcium score of 133, and that was back freaking like 7 years ago,
you got some things going on.
There's no fucking way that they didn't see that. And I'll bet your calcium score today is over 200. And that's why his ankles were swollen. And dude, this guy, and I'm I'm not wishing it on him. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm not saying anything that would send the Secret Service to my house. But this dude's health is literally teetering on, he may not make it to tomorrow. And they're really trying to make the Americans think otherwise.
Well, yeah, that's what they do, is lie. And, Fox News is going to parrot those lies. And certain people are going to believe it. But for the majority of us, sane Americans, we ain't buying it. So
nope. But you know what people are buying in America? Healthcare, health insurance.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of them are seeing not little increases. They're seeing their premiums double, triple, quadruple.
Threefold sometimes. It's crazy.
Simultaneously, we have the president sitting in a cabinet meeting saying that affordability is a con job by the Democrats.
And a hoax. Come on, man. That's one of the things. Look, I'm going to say, let me hop in here real quick.
Please,
I'm going to say, you can lie to people about a lot of things, but when you tell people they're not feeling what they're feeling,
your pocketbooks aren't empty.
Going to be like, you're full of shit on that.
Full of shit.
Because people know what they're feeling when they go to the grocery store. They know what they're feeling when they go to the gas pump. They know what they're feeling when they pay their insurance premiums, when they pay their mortgage, when they pay their taxes.
And then open their bank account.
And for you to say that this is a Democratic hoax, come on, or a con job by the Democrats, made up by the Democrats, a made up word.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to get some people's ire up, which is why, hey, I'm stoked for the midterms because people have had enough.
I'm telling you. But hey, that's what happens when you put people in charge that haven't stepped in a grocery store in 20 years to buy their own loaf of bread.
There you go.
So I think I want to cap the show today off with the auto pen. The auto pen allegations are pretty funny to me. What are your thoughts?
I've used it on official documents. My signature carried weight. It means, I was given certain authorities by U.S. government. And when I signed with an auto pen, it was law. So there you have it.
Now, for some people that
Trump to come back. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, for some people that like context and history, this was actually challenged in court during the Obama administration. I believe it was either 2010, 2012. Don't quote me on the year. But essentially, paraphrasing, they said, yeah, he can use the auto pen on legal documents, and it is legally binding. So this has been a thing for like 15 years. Like, this is nothing new. So here's what I want to say. If we're going to start challenging Joe Biden's fitness and questioning auto pen signatures, I would like to propose that whoever runs for president as a Democrat, I think we need to make it a thing that any document, law, or military order signed by a felon, business fraud, rapist, and accused pedophile should be null and void immediately.
Should be. Why not?
Just planting seeds. Just planting seeds.
That's null and void. Turnabout's fair play, right? Is that what they say? Is that the saying?
If we're going to apply it, let's apply it. You know what I'm saying?
Do it.
Let's do it. But again, I don't want to end just on that. I want to again say, just a shout out to everybody that worked hard over the last, especially the last few days, especially the last 48 hours. I've seen a lot of the creators out there pushing stuff. And, hey, losses are never easy to take, even when they're really, really close. Yeah. And even when there's a lot of positive data to take from it, it's still going to sting. So, let that marinate for a few days, and that's okay. And then we got to get back to work.
Yeah. So, and I'll add, Afton Bain, thanks you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for having a servant's heart and being a servant, getting out there, doing the work. You show him running possible.
Yeah.
Run again. I mean, this guy, Matt's got to run again in November. So,
you know what? I'm glad you said that. There's, we still got a chance. Yeah.
He's just serving out the rest of this term. So
we could still flip that seat. So you know what? We need to keep supporting her. That's a really good point.
So
That's what we'll end the show on. Yep. But I'm going to add that thank you for putting yourself out there, especially as a woman, and getting the attacks that you've been getting. I just hope you see that there are a lot of men out there that see it and don't agree with it, and just applaud you for the way that you handle it. So with that said, we'll leave you as we always do with much love. Keep fighting, but most importantly, stay safe out there.
Godspeed, everybody.